Hello everybody, this is Polish Up Your Polish Lesson 5 and we're continuing our trip through Polish language, starting off with a little reminder of Polish alphabet. You should be able to know that well, or very well, and of course the digraph matrix. Those are all the sounds that appear in Polish language. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about certain things that happens with certain letters in Polish language when they are in the last syllable of a word, or actually they end a word, and certain letters are pronounced a little bit different, and I'm going to tell you about that in this lesson. It might be a little bit confusing, but I believe that at the end of the lesson it will be clear enough for you to tell that, hey, this is easy peasy. Alright, now stress. We're not going to talk about stress yet, but look at your screen and read it aloud if you want. And if you do not want, I'll read it. In Polish language, stress never falls on last syllable. So it means that, well, unless of course the first, the last, and the only syllable is one syllable word, but if it's not, it never falls on the last syllable. Maybe there are certain exceptions, but this is just like, I don't know, not even a minority, because it's just like maybe single words, but I cannot remember if there are any. So let's say this is just like a rule for language. But what's the most important thing is that I'm not going to talk about stress yet, but I'm going to talk about last syllable, and this is something kind of important, but you know, you find it yourself that it just works. It's not like the rule that you need to learn and repeat over and over again. Just it is something that works in Polish language and probably plenty of languages, but in Polish it is quite significant, so you just need to follow that. Okay, so just to remember, just to not even remember, just read it aloud and say, okay, now we're gonna talk about that when I will be talking about stress. But for now, just let's concentrate on the last syllable. And here it is. Last syllable, golden rule is, if last syllable ends with a consonant, this consonant is pronounced voiceless. It appears in many languages, probably in English. Well, sometimes yes, definitely. Well, it is something like, well, it feels natural in Polish language. Something like in English with a dog and an elephant. A and an. An elephant, right? So you need to distinguish whether to say the article, whether it's a or an, right? You just follow the beginning of the word, and if it starts with a consonant, you have the article of a, and then you have, and if it starts with a vowel, you have the article of an. Simple as that. So in Polish, it happens. I mean, not exactly the same way, because we're not talking about the article, but it happens quite naturally, because you feel if you need to say a or an in English. So that's the same thing is in Polish language, not only with this here, with this rule here. But look at the screen once again. If the last syllable ends with a consonant, this consonant is pronounced voiceless. And we have an example. Look at those two English words. If you can pronounce them really carefully, then you can find the difference between both of them, even if the difference is one letter. Thread is like a topic of discussion, and then we have threat. It's kind of a danger. So those two words, there are no any connections between those two words in when it comes to meaning, right? Because there are no similarities, but they are very similar when you write them down, and they differ with only one letter. If you want to pronounce them really carefully, that's fine. You can say that the one is different than the others. But if you're pronouncing them really, really fast, it seems like, not always of course, but it seems like they are both closer to the bottom word when it comes to pronunciation. And same thing happens in Polish language. And that's how it works. And in Polish, what's even more interesting, it works all the time. All the time it works like that. Okay? So try to read those words really fast, or try to put those words in a sentence. Just make your own sentence. And try to read the first word really fast. And I believe this pronunciation is closer to the bottom one. So let's look at the phone change in Polish. You have all the letters, all the actually phones, right? All the sounds, all the voiced sounds that when they appear as a last sound, let's say the last letter, but we're talking of course about the sound itself, they become voiceless. And you have all the changes right here on your screen. I'm not going to read all those letters for you because you should know Polish alphabet already. So try to hit the pause button and read all the letters aloud. In rows, right? Not in columns, in rows, just to compare a voiced sound to a voiceless equivalent. Okay, so that would be just like a kind of exercise for you in the middle of a lesson. Yes, well, okay, so the example here is, this is the word for bread in Polish. As you can see, it's a masculine. As you can see, it ends with the letter B. So it means that, well, we would be pronounced this word as, this letter actually, as a voiceless letter. And you have, below you have not the pronunciation actually, but how this word would look like if we like to write the word down from what we hear. Okay, so one syllable, of course, stress falls on the syllable, but the word ends with a consonant, and it always becomes voiceless. So if I would like to pronounce this word with the way it's actually written, I should say chleb, but as you can hear, it sounds a little bit unnatural. Chleb, right? And in Polish language, everyday language, the language of politics, everyone says that this is just chleb, right? You don't actually feel like there is an emphasis on the last letter, chleb, right? And it happens with all Polish words that ends with a consonant that's voiced consonant. But below we have another example, and this is actually a plural word for bread. And what's interesting is that this word consists of two syllables actually. And as you can see, first of all, the stress falls on the first syllable. Well, I didn't mark that, but you should know that already. And of course, it never falls on the last syllable. So in this case, it should fall on the first one. But the second syllable, the letter B, is not the last letter of the word, because the last letter of the word is I, and an I in Polish language, or I in Polish language, is a vowel. So the rule does not apply. So in this case, we should say chleb, right? Not chleb, because no, that's wrong. But let's compare those two words. Chleb, right? Might be a little bit difficult at the beginning, but do not worry. It's definitely not. Okay? So, and the last thing for this lesson is, good to know, Polish language appears to be voiceless language, since many consonants or phones are not pronounced as voiced sounds. And it also happens in the middle of the word, in certain cases of course, but this would be a topic of our next lesson. So thanks for watching. This was lesson number 5. Remember, I do not want to give you like 20 or 30 minutes of a lesson just to practice over and over again. I'll just give you the idea, and if you feel like you want to practice that, just hit the pause button and do that. Feel free to do that, because it is for you. Like I always say, I'm not doing it for myself, it's for you. If you have any questions or problems, but I think they shouldn't be, but if you have, just ask me and I'll give you the reply. But I believe it's clear enough for you to make your own progress. If you're doing it yourself, it always will be better than just repeating after me some words or sentences, um, to remember. Of course, we're gonna do that, but not yet. We're still practicing pronunciation, and if you will be able to do that as Poles do, then we can skip to some other topics. Okay, thanks again for watching. See you next time with lesson number 6. Bye bye.